Hello, everybody. Warm namaste, and once again,
Oh my.
welcome to yet another episode of this series, Awaken to the Yoga series, with me and Deepa. And this is the seventh video in the series.
Yeah.
And today we are going to talk about a very interesting limb, which is the sixth limb of Maharishi Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. And this is Dharana. So, welcome, Deepa. Pleasure to
Thank
have
you,
you
Ash.
once again.
Lovely. Lovely to be back. I'm so excited to talk about
Yes.
today's topic, Dharana.
So am I. And Deepa, for me, before we begin this video, I was always thinking, okay, are we going to talk about Dharana or Dhyana, which is the sixth one, and which is the which is does the Dharana come before or does Dhyana come before? And then
Right.
I realized that okay, well, um, it's Dharana before. So let us today talk about Dharana and let us today take Dharana, let us take our talk to the next level. So,
Right.
can you please explain to us what Dharana is and how does
Yeah.
it work?
Ash, your confusion is not. It's quite common because a lot of
Okay.
people confuse Dharana with Dhyana,
Hmm.
and we have to. There's a distinction. Dharana is a practice of concentration, whereas Dhyana
Okay.
is actually concentration. Whereas Dharana is practicing meditation, and Dhyana is actually meditating. With complete
Okay.
focus,
Okay.
you're
All
focusing
right.
on that one thing. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
I will simplify it. I'll simplify
Sure.
it
Sure.
because
Sure.
otherwise it will just become like a college lecture, and none of us want that.
I know. I totally
Um,
understand.
so let's just to simplify it. Let's look at the definition of yoga given by Maharishi Patanjali himself.
Sure.
So he said yoga chitta vritti nirodha,
Mm-hmm.
meaning yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind,
Okay.
which
Wow.
means vritti means fluctuations or disturbances,
Okay.
right? So yoga is you annihilate the vrittis from your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's absolutely right because ultimately vrittis, thought waves, we have so many thought waves. Huh? At one time, we are able to think of multiple thoughts of completely different subjects, and the mind can jump from one thought to the other like a monkey jumping from one branch to the other,
Right.
seemingly disconnected thoughts, seemingly unconnected subjects, but the mind can jump from, like wanting to eat a pizza to thinking about the best restaurant to thinking about COVID regulations and talking about then
Tell me
viruses
about
and
it. Yes.
immunity, and it's completely crazy. Like just to give an example.
Correct.
So there is a beautiful quote. It's a very beautiful observation. Why
Hmm.
they have something called subhashitams in Sanskrit, which are these
Yes. Wow.
pithy, yeah, pithy observations of general truth. And one of them, particularly with regard to dharana, I would like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes like this:
Mm-hmm.
Markatasya surapanam, madhye
Okay.
vrishchika darshanam, तन्मध्ये भूतसञ्चारो यदा तदा भविष्यति.
Wow.
And
Okay.
literal translation is the antics of the mind seem to be like that of a monkey that has
Hmm.
consumed alcohol,
Hmm.
bitten by a scorpion, and
Hmm.
possessed by a demon. So,
And I remember my grandfather used to say this Subhashita a lot.
yeah,
As okay, what can a monkey do when he's drunk and when he's intoxicated? And he used to talk a lot about this. So this is a very familiar Subhashita to me too. So thank you for bringing this up and bringing up old childhood memories. I can say
I'm so happy. And this particular observation, I've also learned it from my husband because my husband's grandfather also
see
always gave these very pithy observations in
yes,
Sanskrit. And this was one of them. And he keeps
wow,
quoting his grandfather all the time. And I thought this is probably the one of the best ways to arrive to the point of dharana, because most of us, we'll practice asana, we'll do pranayama, we will probably even understand the pratyahara, like how to train the senses. But then again, you know, meditation is another ball game altogether.
yes,
Now we are
yes,
actually stepping into the subtler aspects of yoga.
Totally.
Heading towards Raja Yoga, where we are trying to come to a stage where we can enter deep meditation. So this is a very crucial point. How do we bring in that focus? How do we bring in that concentration? So this is a quote that I love to share with people also whenever we talk about this subject. So Ash, in the modern context, what happens is, when we talk about the practice of dharana, there are just way too many thoughts in a person's mind. So when they come for a meditation class, there are just way too many thoughts in a person's mind, right? So usually what I do is, I have a class called meditative hatha, where I make them do some asanas, I make them do some pranayama, some concentration and all of that. And then they come to a stage where their mind is calm, their breath is calm, and then we start meditation. So what we do basically by practicing the initial limbs of Ashtanga yoga, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, all of that, mindfulness, we are basically funneling. So by the time we come to the point of dharana, our thoughts have already reduced greatly. So we arrived on our mat with zillions of thoughts, and finally we have funneled it down to maybe 5-10 thoughts still there at the back of your mind. So this is a good stage, because now you have only this few thoughts to take care of. And in dharana, what you then do is you funnel it down even further, and you tell your mind, okay, fine, understood, you want to keep thinking. So think about one thing. Practice thinking about one thing at a time. So there we bring in the concept of focusing on a positive symbol, focusing on a particular chant, or something like that, so that you're able to bring in that focus. So dharana is as simple as that. It is a practice of concentration. It is not concentration itself, because then it moves to dhyana.
Right.
Practicing the concentration so that you will only see that one object in front of you. You will deepen your focus, and then after a certain stage, it will naturally slip into the next stage, which is meditation.
And I think, Deepa, as a meditation teacher, I often feel that without understanding these things as a part of Ashtanga Yoga, because when we do guided meditations, and that's the reason I tell a lot of my students that begin with a guided meditation before you yourself do meditations, because as a meditation teacher, when you guide them, I think we are taking them from dharana to dhyana, because we are asking them to focus on, when I tell them, okay, now focus on your breathing, or focus on visualizing something, or focus on a chant, all of that is dharana. So there is, I think a lot of us are doing dharana without understanding, because a lot of spiritual students, they say we practice spirituality. Even colleagues, they talk about, I do practice spirituality, but they are actually practicing yoga, because when you when you do maybe an activity like journaling, or maybe when you do an activity where you empty your thoughts from your mind, or even a lot of times in my coaching sessions, I tell my clients that if you have a fearful thought, write it down and tear it out.
Write it down.
These are also things which are dharana, right? And we don't realize that we are practicing this limb of yoga unknowingly, and we are actually doing that. And so
absolutely,
these ancient sciences, thousands of year old sciences, today we are looking at it with a modern contemporary perspective, and you see how beautifully it is linked.
Yeah, you're so right, Ash. I agree with you. I think a lot of us are doing spiritual practices without even realizing that we are practicing them. Something as simple as gardening with complete concentration, or singing with complete concentration, or sewing with complete concentration, cooking with complete focus. Anything that you do with complete concentration, you're already practicing yoga in a certain way. So it's really this aspect actually translates into your life. It's not just one part of your life, it is your whole life.
Absolutely. And Deepa, if you remember, I also spoke about the retreats which I took last year, where we had taken a few candidates to Lonavala, and there we asked them to do a few exercises like mandala drawing and coloring.
Yes, I
Okay.
loved your Instagram story on that, by the way.
Yes,
Beautiful.
because it's so amazing that even when I did a WhatsApp workshop, an online workshop around a month ago, where we asked people
Yeah,
to draw root chakra mandalas, and after that
yeah,
we asked them to meditate on them. So I think we were actually doing
beautiful.
dharana.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Because when you are able to kind of direct your mind into one activity with all, complete concentration, that's it. You are in that state where you can be led to a much more deeper
Wow,
kind of a
that's so
practice. So
beautiful.
yes, that is dharana that you guys practice. And Ash, you also mentioned something to me before we started our call, our recording, Zoom recording was about Jay Shetty, right?
Yes,
About a
yes,
book
yes.
that
I
you were
was
reading.
coming to that. So I'm reading this book by Jay Shetty, which is Think Like a Monk. I'm currently reading this. You can see a Kindle copy here with me. And in that, he actually talks about train your mind for peace and purpose every day. And Jay Shetty has been a monk. He has received training as a monk. And that's why in this book, he mentions all about that. And he also tells you the difference between how a monk thinks and how a monkey mind thinks. So, like when you begin
I
this
love
word,
that.
so this monkey
Think like
mind,
a monk, not like a
like a
monkey.
monkey. And most of us, because when we think about, as we discussed, that the body benefits from activity and mind benefits from stillness. But what we are, our generation currently, what everyone is doing is everyone is sitting on the laptop and working, which means the body
Right.
is still, and
Yeah.
the mind is going places, the mind is thinking. So we are
It's the
exactly doing the
exact
opposite
opposite.
of what we are
Exact
doing.
opposite.
So I think with dharana, this things, you are moving step by step closer to making
Closer.
your mind, because mind is something, they say mind, if it is your servant, it's very good, but if it is your master, you're gone,
Master.
it can
Then
really
you're,
ruin you.
yeah,
So dharana will really
totally.
explain us in that context. So Deepa, what can be some of the ways to practice dharana, and can you
Yeah.
just guide us on that?
Yeah, good question. Again, as always, we always talk about the practical applications of each limb. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's just theory, which is no good. So,
Yep.
I, I made a brief mention earlier, and I would just
Mhm.
want to kind of elaborate on that. One of the best ways to practice dharana is a traditional way is, you focus on a positive symbol. So there are
Mhm.
people who practice this, irrespective of religion.
Right.
They have a rosary bead, and they
Right.
will do rosary, they will do rosary bead chanting, or they have an image of a deity, or
Yeah.
whatever, a positive symbol basically in front of them, and they will focus on that positive symbol. There are people who also do chanting, so they do
Yeah.
mantra chanting as a way to kind of bring in that concentration. And then I think one of the best ways to do concentration, practice dharana, is the practice of tratak, candle
Hmm.
gazing or eye gazing towards a particular point. And this is one of my absolute favorites.
Wow.
I do this. I lead my students once in a while during the meditative hatha class. We keep a candle in front, and it has to be an unflickering flame. And they sit there with a little distance away, focusing, bringing that flame, the gaze of that flame into the third eye, and observing that flame with open eyes without blinking. And we do this for like 5 minutes, and it's amazing. Like your mind becomes so quiet, so
Wow.
still. By the time you finish that, you are ready. You're ready to go into a meditative state. So
Wow.
there are these traditional yogic ways of practicing dharana. But again, I would say that if you're not really practicing yoga in a studio, there are other ways you could do that. Like, for example, you can practice, you can sing, you can paint, you can take up any activity, sketching, writing, with anything that requires you to completely be, focus, like playing an instrument, for example, learning to play the guitar or the sitar, or anything that helps
Beautiful.
you completely train your and focus your mind, is a practice of dharana, practically speaking.
Wow.
So, like something as simple as do one thing at a time, instead of trying to multitask
Yes.
in a very simple way, instead of trying to do 10 different things, try to do
What
one
if
thing
you?
at a
Yeah.
time with complete focus. That also is a practice of dharana,
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. And this reminds me of once again the Bhagavad Gita, because there is a shloka in the 18th chapter where where the shloka is as follows: Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Now here,
Wow.
this shloka talks about focus your mind on the consciousness. Now you're me, or Lord Krishna is an aspect of what we call as the cosmic consciousness or the universal consciousness. And
Hmm.
here the Lord is telling Arjuna, the Prince
Hmm.
Arjuna, to focus his mind on the universal consciousness so much that you become one with the consciousness. And I think this
Exactly.
exactly gives us the context of where dharana is coming, because when you start focusing your mind on something, you eventually
Right.
become that.
Exactly.
And
Wow.
that's such a
Beautifully,
beautiful way
beautifully put.
to.
And that this is the beauty of, I would say, some of the texts and historical, we call it mythology, but actually I would
Yes,
say that they're actually historical in nature.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
one of the best things about what was written back then was that uh, you are it, you,
You are
it's not that you are focusing on something outside, you're focusing on
correct.
something which is within you.
Yes,
And when you realize that, you stop looking at an external symbol, because you
absolutely.
internalize it and you become it.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
you become the universal
You become
consciousness.
it. And
Yeah.
you know, this context can be applied everywhere. So again, Nisargadatta Maharaj's book is I Am That, where you talk about you being the universal consciousness. If you take Sufi poets like Rumi, where Rumi talks, he talks about love in a very beautiful way, like God's worship,
Yeah.
and he says that the lover is not seeking a lover outside of him, but he's seeking that lover already who is within him.
Within.
Or even when we look
True.
at the Western spirituality, because uh, if you remember, I told you about in 2016, I had I was in a retreat with a
Yeah.
teacher who took us, like almost we were 20 people who went to the heart chakra of Mother Earth, which is Glastonbury, and we had a walk, a silent walk to the Tor,
Yeah.
okay, which
Oh,
is almost
wow.
like a
Beautiful.
walking meditation inside a spiral.
Yeah.
And I think all of these things, if we look, they all talk about dharana in a very
Yeah.
practical sense. And for anyone who is watching us, all I can say is dharana comes before dhyana, but dharana takes you deeper within dhyana.
Yeah.
And maybe a
Yes.
walking meditation, singing meditation, chanting meditation, or a guided meditation, or as Deepa said, a tratak. All of these activities prepare you for what we call as dhyana. So, of
Yeah.
course, wonderfully explained, Deepa. I think that was quite short and sweet
Yes.
version of, I can say, this beautiful limb. And of course, in the next session, we will be talking about dhyana.
Dhyana.
So great, lovely interpretation, lovely explanation, and I think there is so much to read as every time about,
Yes, absolutely. So much to learn.
so much to
Thank you so
learn.
much for
So
this,
thank
for
you.
creating this platform, Ash.
It's always a pleasure. I so look forward for every week where we discuss this. And thank you once again
Me
for
too.
giving your beautiful time for this talk. And I hope our viewers learn a lot about the eight limbs of yoga. So for all of you who are watching us, you can follow Deepa on her Instagram handle, which is Aham Deepa. You can follow us on Instagram, unicorn_insight. My Facebook page is Ashwini Chube Official, and another Facebook page is Unicorn Insight. Both pages are very much active. And if you're watching us on YouTube on our channel, which is Ashwini Chube, please click like, share, subscribe, and share this amazing knowledge, because I think there is so much we are trying to bring it down to the 21st century, to 2020, and we are talking this in a very contemporary way. So I hope you all
Right.
connect to the principles what we are talking about Do write to us. We look forward to hear from you. And we will see you once again next week with Deepa, who is a Sivananda lineage yoga teacher and a very, very good friend of mine. We thank her for her time and her all her beautiful information she gave us. So thank you, Deepa, and
Thank
thank
you,
you
Ash.
everybody for watching. Lots of love. Namaste
Namaste.
and love and light to all of you. Thank you.